when he would go to his nephrologist, and when I would be up there to take him to some of his office visits, my sister did most of it, I really have to say. But whenever I did, I took off from work and I went up. The nephrologist would come in with a little cart, and on top of it was his laptop. And he used to type in all the information, and it would be fed into a general data. And every doctor in that practice would have my father's records. If they needed it, they could just pull it up.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, which quite honestly is quite awesome. Because I'm sure back in the day when you went to a nice old doctor, I'm sure they have to. I know they have to go to these classes and get updated and things of that nature. But to have the latest, greatest thing at your fingertips, or the knowledge of the greatest stuff, plus, as you said, all the background of the patient. I used to go with my wife to different doctors, and you would just be amazed. You'd sit down in front of them, and they'd ask you. The first question they would ask you is, "Why are you here?"
No, the first question they would ask you is, "Do you have insurance?"
Well, that wasn't the doctor. I'm talking once you get into the actual
doctor.
That's right.
Very
true.
Very
Doctor
true.
could care less about that. He has people, a ton of women out there taking care of that for him.
Very true. And one of the things that Obama said after his first term, in the middle of his first term, was he wanted to make the gathering of information simpler, because many people were being sent for the same test by different doctors, and all it was doing was, costing insurance companies more, and they said that's why the premiums were so high.
Sure. And there's a lot of practices like that. I mean, if you look at the people they put in, I had some acquaintance of mine I know was put into what you call an insane place, an insane asylum. His family had him put into situation. And he said that just the roll of, there's 70 people in 1 month came rolling through there, and doctor would simply come up and just quickly ask, how you doing, what's going on, do you still see this? Yes,
Hello?
I do. Okay.
Hello? I think we lost our call.
Eric?
Can you not hear me?
You know what? You're right. Looks like we somehow lost him.
Is it possible for us to call him back?
Yeah, just caller ID here. Let's see how we call him back. Okay, he's calling back. All right.
It's funny. I heard you guys saying I think we lost him. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Maybe.
Hello? I think we've lost him for a while. We're going to have to figure out. I don't know what's wrong.
Wait.
Hello? Eric?
There it is. There it is.
Hello?
How about this time?
Oh, we're okay now. Now we can hear you. I don't know what happened.
I could hear you two talking, but you couldn't hear me.
No. Like I said, this is not. We don't have exactly a high-tech studio here.
Anyway, the point I was making was there was such abuse of just bill. They would see somebody write a ticket, and they would bill the government, and it would just be one after another, when all you had was just some troubled soul that was kicked out of their family because the person didn't want to deal with it anymore. Enough people sign a piece of paper, you can be put into an insane asylum. You need two people. Two people can sign a piece of paper, and they'll put you away. It's called the Baker Act. And this guy sat there and watched people come through. He couldn't believe it. And the doctor walk up 3 minutes real quick and then bill the government.
Yeah, I better tell Felix that he should be very careful. I could think of a few people, more than two at least, that would sign a paper on him.
Absolutely.
And I'm
That's why
sure
he keeps his son employed.
and if I look close enough, I'm sure about at least two people would want to sign the same paper for me as well.
I think it's just right. That's the point, though. The point of it is it could be anybody, and it's just a ridiculous thing that a judge can just pull a trigger and do that, and then a doctor can just walk through and just quickly understand a person. in 10-minute interviews once a week and just bill the government.
Yeah.
But that's getting off the track, kind of. Not exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about
Well,
medical abuse. The abuse of money in the medicine. How about that? How about instead of changing everything, how about getting somebody in there and really looking at every case? Spend the time. What the hell? They gave how many $1 billion to the banks?
Get some forensic accountants in there.
Spend $500 million in 1 year on a bunch of guys you send out like army men, and have them just work their way into every little nook and cranny real quickly and weed it all out. Spend the money. Eventually, you got to do something because there's too many piranhas out there.
Well, either that or you make the medical plan like the rest of the world. You make it a socialistic medical plan, and then there's no incentive to do it anymore.
Yeah, if the doctors are on a salary that they're paid by the hospital who gets money from the government, then there's no incentive to have private practices, really.
You know what? You could probably have... It's true, but you'd have to make it a fine salary, or else, as you said, the students are falling off. They're running out of physicians already, they're saying, in the future.
That's true.
And you better make it pretty. You better make you're well taken care of by the government. Like rock star salary.
Well,
you know something? If people knew that the doctor would be available, and they not get the feeling that they're being ripped off, I think they would go for that. I mean, with all the schooling that physicians have to go through, they deserve it. Now you won't find the same feelings about attorneys, but let doctors hopefully save your life, and attorneys steal whatever you have left. So what can I say? But I'll give you a perfect example. My family physician, for health reasons, is being forced to retire, and he's moving to Texas. Good luck to him. But and he's not practicing anymore. He had a nurse practitioner and 2 nurse practitioners in his office. Okay, we don't know if these people are going to be carrying on the practice. If I got sick tomorrow, I wouldn't know who to call up. I would feel like one of the people who walk into the emergency room without coverage, and they say, "Who's your doctor?" And I say, "Duh, I don't know."
Well, you know what's happening now. I don't know.
Yeah, like when's the last time you went to a general practitioner?
Well, they call them family physicians. It's your internist is your family doctor.
Right.
Okay, that's basically what it is. No more GP.
Right.
But what's happening now? I noticed is hospitals are buying out these private practices, hiring the doctors for a salary, and the practice remains the same, basically. And what eventually a lot of these hospitals are looking to do is create their own small HMOs, where you're already seeing their physicians. You go to their hospitals, they control everything. And it's becoming more and more popular.
Well, it's very popular outside of, let's say, New York and the 5 boroughs. Okay, if you go to the Midwest, you find clinics, and in those clinics, you have a cardiologist, you may have a psychologist or psychiatrist, you may have an orthopedist, and they're all working for this one group, which is a satellite of the hospital.
Well, these doctors are just keeping the practices the way they are. They're just internists, and that's all it is. But now they get a salary from the hospital. And I spoke to one of them who was actually my doctor, and he said he loves it. All of a sudden now there's no more headaches. He makes just as much money as before, but he doesn't have any of the responsibilities they take care of everything. All he does is come in, does his work, and go home.
The only
What
ones
about his
that'll
own
fight it are the
practice?
people who are working the
Practice.
system.
Oh.
The people who are working the system, because now all of a sudden they're going to have to work.
Patients. Now they're still his patients.
So, okay, he doesn't have to worry about the billing. That's done through the hospital, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the billing, paying rent, worrying about if he's got a bad week or bad month. If he calls in sick, they'll put a different doctor in there for the week. Whatever.
He's a government employee now. Now he's a government employee, right? He gets a check from the government.
And
That's who signs his checks now.
But if you look at the signs outside, they haven't changed, except that somewhere in the corner it'll say operated by North Shore Hospital or.
I know, I've seen those. They say, affiliated with Mercy Hospital or South Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all and the different hospitals are fighting each other to buy up these practices.
Speaking of hospitals, I don't know where you live, but in Long Beach, after Sandy, Long Beach Hospital has closed down and it has not reopened. So for Long Beach, there is no hospital. The closest hospital for them is St. John's in Rockaway. Also in Rockaway, Peninsula Hospital Center closed down. That was like in the middle of the peninsula, and it used to serve everybody. People now in Rockaway either have to go to St. John's, which is having financial problems of their own, or they have to travel into Brooklyn or Jamaica Hospital.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is ridiculous, I don't know about, the satellite offices. I can't think that there are too many of them still operating because
I can't think
there's
these
no
hospitals
hospital.
I can't believe these hospitals that you're talking about why aren't they making money? Something.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Because I guarantee you the rooms are full.
Well, I remember from many, many years ago, St. John's had a lot of Medicaid patients, okay? I think when my oldest daughter was born, 37 years ago, we were the only paying patients on the floor. Everybody else was public assistance.
Huh. And why should that be an issue, though? Why isn't that paid? It's paid, but not paid well enough, I guess.
Well, the only thing I can think of is I know that by the time my wife at the time had given birth to our daughter, we were paid up with the doctor. Okay, my coverage from work covered the hospital, but as far as the medical and doctor, the obstetrician, we paid for that. I don't, as far as the Medicaid patients are concerned and public assistance patients, those are all government. Maybe the government was lax in paying their bill. I couldn't really say. But right now, like I said, you're talking about 37 to 40 years ago.
Will the government ever step in and keep a hospital alive?
Well, I know that's what they were hoping for with Peninsula. Would they be able to keep it going? But as far right now, it's just a hull of a building. It's almost like Stephen King's Kingdom Hospital when you walk through it.
If they close, what is it? St. John's is the one that they're all kind of utilizing out there.
Yes.
St. John's,
if they close that, and they're thinking about closing that one as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, they can't.
We're lucky.
We're lucky. Issue. You need to have hospitals in certain areas.
Of course you do.
Gentlemen, I hate to cut both of you off, but we are...
Right, we're very close to 45 minutes.
We are like 20 seconds away, and we must say we're going to be doing our farewells now to our audience. Thanks for calling in. It's been a pleasure listening to you tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your call.
Gentlemen.
You should do it more often.
It worked out this time. I have 4 kids. It's crazy.
Very good.
It just
Have a
worked